Hello everyone, happy Valentine's Day and welcome back. Despite today being a day of love and happiness, I'm going to be bringing you guys quite a disturbing case, and it is the tragic case of 3-year-old Sutton Mosser, whose mother Justine Johnson is accused of stabbing her multiple times, and she's now blaming it on SpongeBob. You heard me right, SpongeBob. On September 16th of 2021, 22-year-old Justine Johnson and her 3-year-old daughter Sutton Mosser were staying at her parents' home despite Justine having her own apartment, and it seems like she was staying at her parents' home so that her family could help her take care of little Sutton, because from what it seems like, Justine had a drug addiction and I guess her family was helping take care of her daughter. Justine also has 2 brothers who were living at the home at the time. One was 17 years old, so he was underage. I didn't see the age of the other brother, but he is an adult and his name is Nestle. But her brother Nestle would note that the last time that he seen his sister and niece was on September 16th, right before he left for work. And from all his accounts, nothing seemed wrong. Nothing seemed strange. He didn't remember anything out of the ordinary that day when he seen his sister and niece before he left for work. But the 17-year-old story would be a little bit different, because the 17-year-old would testify that after his brother Nestle had left for work, he would wake up around 6 p.m. and find his sister Justine doing lines in the bathroom. And I'm sure we all know what she was doing lines of. The 17-year-old ended up asking Justine where Sutton was, where his niece was. And she instantly responded to her brother with mind your own business, which apparently wasn't really out of the ordinary for her. You know, dynamics between brother and sister. Again, she was also on drugs, it seemed like, allegedly at the time. So her response was just very clipped, very much like mind your own business, leave me alone, which the 17-year-old, I guess, didn't see anything really out of the ordinary with that situation, which just stands to say, like, what was going on in that household in general then, if it wasn't odd for him to see his sister doing coke in the bathroom, allegedly, and her just blowing him off. But either way, he went on with his day. He ended up leaving to go to the beach that day, and when he came home around 10 p.m., no one was at the house from what he could tell. I don't know where the parents were this entire time, but it seems like no one was at the home when the 17-year-old got home. And I really haven't seen the parents say anything about what happened that day. I've only seen the mother I'll talk about this later on, but she's defending her daughter. But I didn't see the parents say anything about being home that day, which is really strange to me, but they weren't there the whole day. I don't know where they were. There's honestly not that much information on this case, so it's a little, it's a little confusing at parts like that, where were the parents then? But either way, 17-year-old comes home from beach around 10 p.m., says no one was home. Fast forward to the morning around 3:30 to 4 a.m., and this is when Nestle gets home from work. Nestle goes inside, realizes he also can't find his sister or his niece. So he ends up going and waking up the 17-year-old brother. And again, the 17-year-old brother still has no clue where they are. He didn't really notice that anyone was missing. I guess he just came home, he thought maybe people were sleeping, didn't go looking through every single room looking for them. But when Nestle came home, I guess it kind of alarmed him. So then they both went and looked around the house trying to find where either Justine or Sutton was. Again, don't know where the parents were during this time. These 2 brothers are looking through the house, and what they would find would be absolutely horrific, and something that no 2 brothers should find about their family member. Because the 2 brothers would end up finding a human foot sticking out of a garbage bag that was on the porch in the backyard, which is the last thing I'm sure they were expecting to find when they were going around the house looking for their sister and their niece. Of course, these 2 brothers are freaked out, understandably, so they end up calling their uncle to get some guidance on what they should do, and then the 3 of them call 911, which is just absolutely horrific. I can't imagine these 2 brothers finding their niece like that. Officer Gerald Sobolewski is quoted saying, "The callers stated they had found a foot on their porch." After arriving to the scene, Officer Sobolewski said that he asked the siblings to direct him to the back of the house, where he discovered a blue plastic tote and 2 garbage bags, and one of the bags had a small child's foot sticking out of it. The officer immediately checked the foot for a pulse and realized it was cold to the touch, and then EMS was called to the scene. Now, forensic scientist Shane Hill from the Michigan State Police Crime Lab testified that inside the trash bag, they discovered Sutton's body. It had been wrapped in a comforter and placed inside the bag, along with a pair of blood-stained jeans. A black sweatshirt was also found at the bottom of the blue tote, which allegedly seemed to match the one that Justine had been captured wearing that day on surveillance video. So I guess during the investigation, they ended up finding surveillance footage of Justine that day, and she was wearing the same thing. On top of that, there was also 3 knives found inside of a bedroom, bloodstains on the couch in the living room, a hallway closet door, and some items in a bedroom. So 3-year-old little Sutton, her body is found. But where is her mother? Where's Justine? According to reports, after killing her daughter, which we will get to that in a second, Justine had gone back to her own apartment, where she then attempted to take her own life. And when that didn't work, she ended up walking back to her parents' home. There was also apparently blood found in Justine's apartment on the floor and in the bathroom later on. Police never confirmed whose blood it was in Justine's apartment, but it seems like they're pretty sure Sutton was killed at Justine's parents' home, at her grandparents' home. So it's weird that there was blood there. It could have been transferred. I don't know. But my personal gut feeling is it was from that attempt at unaliving herself. Officers would find Justine walking along railroad tracks hours after the discovery of her daughter's body. She ended up telling officers that she did not want to talk about her daughter's death. So Justine is now in custody. But what the hell transpired between Nestle leaving for work, where he had just seen his sister and his niece alive and well, everything was normal, and then him coming home to finding his niece dead and his sister is now arrested? Well, according to the medical examiner, Sutton had been stabbed in the neck and chest multiple times. This tiny little 3-year-old girl. You want to know what Justine's reasoning for murdering her daughter was? Well, I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. It's in the title of this video, and it's a wild one, as you've seen. Well, Ryan Eberlein, who is an investigator with CPS, testified during a preliminary hearing that Justine had told him that although she didn't remember the specifics of what happened to her daughter because she was hallucinating from heroin withdrawal and lack of sleep, again, a lot there to take in just on that. But Justine believed that she was getting messages from the TV and that SpongeBob was telling her that she had to take her daughter's life or he was going to kill her. It's just, I can't. This is just another one of those cases where drugs lead to a child dying, and it's ridiculous. She was also high on coke because her little brother seen her doing cocaine in the bathroom. Allegedly, I'm going to say it was cocaine. What else do you do lines of in the bathroom normally? Usually cocaine. Then on top of that, she's apparently hallucinating. Like, I don't even have words. Like, I covered Little Sterling's death, and Little Sterling's death due to his parents' drug addiction was absolutely horrific. If you haven't seen that video, I'll have it linked down below. It's a really bad one. So I wouldn't recommend watching it if you're sensitive to anything. And to just make it a level sadder, Sutton was killed 2 days after her 3rd birthday. She was a toddler. She had just turned 3 years old. So unlike in Sterling's death, little Sutton had a level of awareness of what was happening to her, which is just, it's absolutely fucking terrible. Like, I can't imagine what this little baby was feeling, looking up her mother as someone who's supposed to be protecting her and loving her, and instead her mother attacks her. So Justine is currently being charged with 1st-degree child abuse and felony murder, and as far as I can tell, her next preliminary trial is on February 28th. And if convicted, she could be facing a life sentence without the possibility of parole, as she should. Now, when I mentioned earlier where I have no clue where Justine's parents were this whole time because she was staying at their home, this is the only quote I've seen from her parents, and it's from Justine's mother, Elisa Johnson, and she told CNN that her daughter was being portrayed as someone that she is not. I'm sorry, Lisa, but let me sit here and tell you that your daughter is claiming that she killed your granddaughter because of SpongeBob. No one's putting words in her mouth. Elisa's also been quoted saying that my daughter loved her child and that Justine loves Sutton with all her heart. She never let anybody hurt that baby. Well, apparently she let a cartoon character convince her to. And I'm sorry, I know drug addiction's a really serious thing, but I'm not sorry when drug addictions lead to a child dying. And the fact that Elisa is making excuses for her daughter, who was doing drugs in her home where her granddaughter was, and that led to her granddaughter being murdered, is absolutely sickening. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information I can find on this case. Like I said, there's not that much information on it. As I said, there's going to be another preliminary trial coming up in a couple weeks, so maybe there'll be more information when that happens. But as of for now, that's pretty much all the information. So yeah, how do you guys feel about this case? I know how you guys feel about the baby Sterling case, so I kind of can picture how you guys are going to feel about this case. It's a rough one, and just another one of these cases where drugs lead to a child dying. So yeah, that is today's case on Sutton Mosser. I really want to hear your guys' opinions on this case, so let's have a chat below about this. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. And if you enjoyed my coverage on this case today, I hope you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you're notified when I do post next week. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day. Please keep little Sutton in your hearts because she did not get to experience this Valentine's Day, and she should have. With that, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye.